Right, ladies and gentlemen, here in disbound condition, you have three scarce early 19th century books of sort of romantic literary interest, first editions bound together. There's no cover, the back few pages are loose, but the book is of great interest in that it's a series of volumes and works by an unusual working class poet, a labourer poet, a bit like John Clare, somebody called Robert Bloomfield, who was discovered and supported by the Duke of Grafton as patron, and who wrote a number of poems. One was called The Farmer's Boy, very famous, this is three of books by him and about him bound together. We have a first edition, 1811, first edition of his book, The Banks of Wye, a poem in four books. 1811 first edition in four books. It's basically a trip along the River Wye, written in poetic verse, a bit of a split in the binding there. That's the first of the three books bound together by somebody in the 19th century. The second is 13 years later. It's 1824, The Remains of Robert Bloomfield. He died in poverty. His wife went mad, his children died early, and he scraped a living making sort of musical instruments, but his sister published the remains of his literary estate, fascinating articles. There are articles on spiders' webs, how spiders spin their webs. There are critical pieces, there are little poems, little jokes, there are pages of observations and things he thought and saw. It's absolutely fascinating item. There's a whole large section then of a trip, an account, a topographical trip along the River Wye. We have here, I'm doing this all one-handedly, I'm afraid. There's a large section down the Wye, journal of a tour down the Wye, a fascinating large chunk of writing about the River Wye. And then there are other sort of fables and sort of children's tales. There are letters from Bloomfield. You can see it's rather crinkled at the back. And then at the back is a prospectus to raise more money for a volume of songs to be written to his poems, and there are appended 11 examples at the end, charming sort of musical. They fold out musical examples of 11 of his poems. They're going to do more of them, and that's what's mentioned in the prospectus, Bloomfield's poems set to music. As I say, it's disbound. The latter pages are loose, but it's all, I think, complete, and it's scarce. The 1811 first edition of his poems I found, of the Wye poem, on the internet I found priced at £50 and £150, and one of the two volumes there are two books of his remains at the back, one after the other, I should have said that. One of them I found priced at £75. So basically you're talking at, several £100s worth of antiquarian book, even in this condition. Robert Bloomfield, working class labouring poet of the Romantic movement, worth studying and of interest. Thanks very much. Bye.